Hello and welcome to another movie review. When Netflix announced a live-action One Piece series, just about everyone I knew, and many more people online, rolled their eyes. After masterpieces like Death Note and Cowboy Bebop, yeah, no one would have ever expected One Piece to be good outside of those few rare people who just want a good American live-action adaptation of an anime series for some reason. It should be noted that I am not a fan of One Piece. I do not like the art style of the manga with its really weird faces and bizarre framing of visuals. However, I have seen some of the anime series, and sadly, I still kind of remember the 4Kids One Piece rap. I've seen episodes of the proper version of the series as well, and I had friends who were big fans of the series for years. Thus, I do know a little about the franchise, but mostly through osmosis. If my channel hadn't already given it away, I have a greater preference towards horror series and giant robot series. That being said, I still gave this show a chance because I had been told by some friends I should really check it out. One Piece is the story of Monkey D. Luffy, a boy seeking to become king of the pirates. However, the world and story are a bit more complex than our main starting point. This is a world that is mostly ocean with a large amount of islands, so travel by sea is common and the technology levels of various islands differs greatly. Luffy has the superpower of being made of rubber due to eating a devil fruit when he was young. As it turns out, this is a magical fruit that gives different people different powers and adds more variety to the world of pirates. The police of this world are made up of the Marines, which have silly uniforms and tend to feature ethics that are shades of gray, creating a world where not all pirates are evil and not all Marines are good. Our story begins with Luffy rescuing Kobe from some pirates with a brief fight. Kobe dreams of becoming a Marine, so Luffy helps him. In the process, Luffy frees Zoro, a swordsman who will later join his crew. Luffy's sneaking around the Marine base causes him to run into Nami, a thief, who will also later become part of his crew. As Luffy's small band sails the seas, they run afoul of several other pirates, including Buggy the Clown and Arlong, a fish person. They also get some new crew members as they travel along and help those they can when they visit various places on the way to the Grand Line, a focal point for pirates that may lead to the legendary treasure of One Piece. The season wraps up with a big battle where some of Luffy's team get to show off their various abilities and save a village. Overall, the story isn't too deep, but there are enough twists and turns in the journey to make it enjoyable. There are some interesting themes to be found in this series, and they help it stand out from other action-adventure shows. There is a strong emphasis on following dreams and not giving up on your goals. A good message during a time when many shows and movies tend to have a more nihilistic point of view. Beyond that, there is a theme of family, both blood and found. You see how Luffy's crew becomes something of a family, and you learn about the members of his crew who have much of their journey before meeting Luffy being defined by what has happened to their family or with those who helped raise them. When you have a theme like that, it is hard not to feel moved by some of the moments in the story that are easy to relate to. The strong themes mix well with the simple pirate adventure to make this a more expansive story than one would expect. There are many characters in this series, but only a handful deserve a closer look, as many are only around for an episode or two. Sadly, the acting is perhaps the weakest point of the entire series. Luffy. Our lead is a headstrong, naive, and often stupid guy who has a big heart and wants to help anyone in need. The character suffers from the actor being really bad, Despite being approved of by the mangaka, this actor isn't that great. His jokes fall flat, scenes where he is meant to be charming are not, and it seems like the actor doesn't understand the tone of many scenes he is in. It gets more awkward when the actor playing young Luffy doesn't have the same accent as the older actor, but beyond that, the kid isn't too bad. Both actors have good physicality that fits the very energetic hero, and portray him decently well, despite some minor flaws. Zoro. The badass swordsman looks great in this adaptation, with good martial arts, funny quips, and to my surprise, they made his three-sword stance not look silly in the action scenes. You can tell the actor has some martial arts skill, and it pays off, making the fights feel more real. Young Zoro is fine, but tends to have a blank stare in most of his scenes. However, his rival in the flashbacks is easily the worst actor in the entire show, and thankfully, her character isn't around for very long. Overall, I consider Zoro to be one of the best parts of the series, and his interactions with the other characters really show off the actor's skill. Nami. The skilled thief and navigator works well in the show without falling into any of the modern traps for female characters. You can tell the actress is trying, but she had difficulty emoting, which makes her personal scenes in the later episodes really weak. In addition to that, between the wig and the costume, she always kind of looked like a cosplayer rather than an actual person living in this world. On the good side, she is charismatic, and her charm carries scenes her acting cannot. She can pull off the wisecracks and nonchalant attitude of this character, which makes many of her moments with the other characters fun to watch. Usopp, easily the most annoying character in the show, which is compounded by the fact that he's one of the worst actors in the show. He does well during the physical scenes, but that's not enough to save his character. Any episode where he has a small or insignificant part is the better for not having him around. His acting is so bad, he makes the weaker actors of the show seem better by comparison. Sanji. Introduced later in the season, he is a cook with a flirty attitude and always ready with a snarky comeback. His performance is also a highlight of the series. Not only that, but apparently the actor learned to cook and fight when he got the role. That kind of dedication really pays off, as it shows in his performance. His younger self, on the other hand, also has a different accent, but isn't too bad in the few scenes he appears in. Some of the best moments in the show are when Sanji and Zoro trade quips. It's the two best actors of the show having a good time, and One Piece is all the better for it. Buggy the Clown. Many shows are defined by their villains, and one of the most memorable is Buggy. This psychotic clown is a highlight of the show, with a great performance that is evocative of Keaton's Beetlejuice. The physicality of the actor really helps as well. Buggy stands out from just being an annoying early antagonist due to his crazy clown behaviors. He is very raunchy, and it is fun to see how the other characters react to the crazy stuff he talks about. Despite being an evil clown, he does create some very humorous moments. Getting that mix of physical threat and comedic foil blended together is very difficult, and yet it is pulled off with Buggy. Arlong. He is one of the bigger villains they battled this season. He is intimidating with his deep voice and bulky build, but the fish face looks ridiculous, killing any threat this ripped fishman could have held. It's too bad the character doesn't work well in the live action, as the actor is giving a great performance. And when you don't see the face, he really feels like a threat to the team. The mask used for Arlong lets down the character, but the actor raises the role with his intensity, leading to a very mixed result. One of the things that did surprise me about the characters is that some of them who seem like one-arc minor players, like Kobe from the beginning of the show, stick around and grow as the series progresses. This made some characters, especially the Marines, much more interesting to follow. The characters sticking around and growing as the story progresses helps make the world feel more real. When attention is paid to the minor characters, it really helps the world building, and that makes this show a much more enjoyable experience. When it comes to aesthetics, this show is a mixed bag, but it could have been so much worse. First off, the costumes look pretty good. Luffy's outfit shows some wear and tear over time, and even the generic background pirates have unique costumes. However, the costumes aren't perfect. Nami, of course, looks like a cosplayer, and there are some issues with the Marine uniforms. It took me some time to figure out exactly what the problem was with the Marine costumes. It eventually dawned on me that the Cadet Marine costumes are made out of flimsy fabric. If you have ever seen a Navy enlisted uniform, then you will notice that they are made out of thicker fabric, so they last longer. The cadet shirt looks like something you could pick up at a Halloween Express. However, the officer uniforms do look fine. Despite the minor problems, most of the costumes look authentic to the show and are pulled off in a way that doesn't make this look like a fan film. The sets look pretty good. There is just enough difference between islands to make them all look unique. There is clearly CG used for the sets and the ships, but while it might not look perfect, it is far beyond the cartoonish quality of a Marvel film. The sailing segments remind me of Our Flag Means Death, and I kept waiting for Luffy to run into Steed. Sometimes the CG looks fake, but for the most part it works. For the budget of this show, they did a great job making the world feel real. The action scenes work great despite a few CG flaws. Luffy's rubber body comes off perfect because the CG has a rubber look to it, which fits his powers. You can tell there are some real martial arts being used, but sometimes they are enhanced with CG and it doesn't look great. However, compared to the CG action of a DC or Marvel movie, these scenes are superior in almost every way. You can tell the actors were on set, the fights feel real, and don't look like a person randomly swinging their arms around on a soundstage. Most importantly, the characters' powers or skills look authentic in the fights. Except Buggy, he looks like some sort of phone filter in his fights. It should also be noted that there is no blood in this show. People get killed or hurt badly, but apparently pirates don't bleed. It's a minor complaint, but it was very noticeable and took away from the reality the show was weaving. Despite some minor flaws, the show has good action and keeps the excitement going. As for the music, it's passable. Nothing really stands out, but I did like when they used some of the themes from the anime. In addition to that, there is a vocal song in the later episodes. It was fine, but not very memorable. I'll take passable music that fits the tone of the series over anachronistic licensed music any day of the week. As for the sound effects, they did a good job making things feel visceral in the fights, but the coastal sounds were a little weak considering how close they are to the ocean. There is nothing outright bad with this sound design, but nothing really stands out either. I was not looking forward to watching this show. I was expecting the show to be terrible. After all, Netflix has yet to prove they can properly adapt an anime series to live action. However, this show surprised me because it took a series I wasn't a fan of and made me want to watch more adventures of this plucky crew. While I am critical of the show for its many flaws, that doesn't mean it wasn't enjoyable to watch. In many ways, it reminded me of an old 80s, 90s syndicated adventure show, like Hercules, Xena, Conan, and Nightman. These shows usually didn't have great acting or the best special effects, but they took what they had and made an enjoyable hour of TV. If this was 25 years ago, I could see One Piece wedged between The Adventures of Sinbad and Highlander the series. Sometimes all you need is some decent action and a fun adventure to give you some nice escapism. While One Piece has issues with acting and aesthetics, it makes up for it with heart. Not only the emotional core of the story, but the care that the staff behind the show put into the production. It is rare to see a modern adaptation that actually cares about the source material. There are many ways to fail at making a One Piece series, and they didn't fall into any of those traps. While hardcore fans may have some issues, for the most part, anyone familiar with the series or looking for a fun pirate adventure will really enjoy One Piece. While it may have some farcical aspects, it does have a fun plot, great story themes, and actors who might not be the best, but they are giving their all for this over-the-top pirate adventure. Bottom line is, this show is highly recommended. It is only held back from my highest award, Must See, due to the flaws and strange world that might not appeal to everyone. If you are looking for a fun action-adventure series that feels like those old syndicated shows, then give One Piece a chance. The first episode throws a lot at the viewer, but by the end of the second episode, most people will be hooked until the end. I'm grateful this series is good because I needed something to remind me that there are those out there who care about long-running franchises and want to see them continue to grow without drastic changes or throwing away everything that made the original so great. Thank you for watching. I'm planning a little more One Piece content in the future, and perhaps a few anime reviews as well. Until then, matey, I'll see ye at the tavern. Arr!